And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dylan Holy Experience. This is your midweek market recap. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the millions, and of course I'm including my they, them brethren. Shout out to you cheek X's. Welcome to primetime news coverage for your midweek market recap. It's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, California specifically. And let's just jump right into it. Stock futures are up as investors await important inflation data. Stock futures are rising slightly Wednesday evening as investors look ahead to inflation data and earnings in the coming days that may provide insight into the future health of the economy. Futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average were up 48 points or 0.16%. NASDAQ 100 futures added 0.15%, while futures tied to the S&P 500 increased 0.18%. The action follows a day of small ups and downs for the market as investors digested minutes from the September Federal Reserve meeting. And you bet your sweet bucket we're going to be covering that next. Ain't no question about it. The minutes showed the central bank expected to keep hiking interest rates until it sees receding inflation. And we're gonna expand upon that a little later. But one comment made some think that the Fed might instead slow the rate hikes, if not roll them back, if financial markets tumult continued. The S&P 500 fell 0.33% to close at $3,577.03. The NASDAQ composite dropped 0.09% to $10,417.10. The Dow Jones slipped 0.10% or 28.34 points to close at $29,210.85. Now, let's take a little gander to see what's going on with the actual charting of these things, because it's not as cut and dry as like, oh, you know, it was somewhat unchanged. At least today it was, you know, it definitely was a more boring trading session. I'm not going to deny. It's definitely a little uneventful. But there was some significant price movement that happened on Tuesday and Monday. So a day and 2 days ago. And as you can see, it pumped pretty hard. Wow. I'm sounding like a full, dude, I'm a full crypto bro. I'm saying pumped and dumped. But no, it did increase. It increased about 300 points. It tapped some resistance and then it fell back down. And now it seems to just kind of be chilling. Again, I cannot lie to the millions. I will never lie to the millions. I don't really know what's going to happen with the short-term price action. I think for the midterm, so I mean, going up into the midterms, the actual midterms, but the midterm or the medium term in terms of time length, I think it might be another like 12 to 18 months of some possible downturn or just contraction, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think for the time being, we're still going to keep going down. It is pretty interesting. I am very excited and interested to see what the actual CPI numbers are tomorrow, because it seems like inflation seems to kind of be taming. It seems like it's been starting to level out. And, you know, we did drop a bit in August. Obviously, those inflation numbers, they're up now in September. Was it September or was it July that dropped and then August? No. I think it was the August CPI. The August CPI was the one that dropped. August CPI 2022. Let's just pull up like the CNBC. I know I covered this. Okay. No, okay, so in July, inflation, the actual CPI dropped about 0.2%, and in August, it actually rose 0.1%. So it does seem like we've reached a point where it's now just kind of starting to simmer down. So it may still be increasing, but you know, compared to where it was at the beginning of this year or even into the early summer months, you know, inflation was increasing. The actual CPI was increasing like 1 to 2% per cycle, per month. So now it seems like we've hit a point where maybe the actual physics are starting to catch up. So the actual physics of locking credit markets, actually tightening them rather than the quantitative easing or the loosening of credit markets over the last, basically, or up until January, up the last 2 years or so. So I'm happy that the actual physics are starting to catch up. Speaking of that, and we did cover this on the end of the week market recap, but it is something that is really, really important, and I think is really real. Oh my Lord. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking news on the Dylan Hoy Experience. This is the first time I've ever seen this number. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 7.7% in California, dude. And that's like a down payment of 20%, $300,000, and a credit score of 700 to 719, which is about the median credit score in the United States. 7.7%. Just for some background as to why this number is shocking to me. Last week, or specifically on Friday, mortgage rates for the 30-year fixed nationwide was 7.12%, and in California it's 7.7 today. In California it's 7.7. That is stunning. Nationwide, 6.89%. But in California, the 30-year fixed is almost 8%. That is seismic, man. For real. You know, I posted this on my Twitter account yesterday, and I just wanted to bring this up because this kind of goes in tandem with what's going on with those mortgage rates. Okay. Guys, Dylan here. Have you guys seen The Big Short? And if you have, there's that one scene where the guys are driving through that neighborhood in Florida and like every single house was empty. And I'm doing a delivery right now. Check an open house right here. Open house. And these are all empty, like new built, or actually that one just sold. Congrats to them. You've got an open house all the way down the block, dude. It's like a freaking ghost town. It's not just on one side, it's on both sides. And one of them sold. Looks like there's people living over in that one. But dude, it's crazy, man. Housing collapse is upon us. What 7% mortgage rates do to a MF, for real. Yeah, and that was me going off the 7% number. It's 7.7% for a 30-year fixed in California. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, that is spicy, baby. That is a spicy interest rate. That's wild, man. What would the down, man, it's so crazy. The down payment of 20% of the median home in California, $300,000 for 20%. Oh, oh, oh. That's so much, man. Wow. Sorry, man. Sorry to get sidetracked, but the physics, I think we may have hit a turning point where I think we're going to start to see the inflation possibly, I don't know. I think this might be a bold take. This might be a spicy bold take, but I think we may see interest rates. I don't know if they'll ever go back to the Volcker era, but what if we saw the federal funds rate at like 6 or 7%? The last time we've seen the federal funds rate at 6 or 7%, '95, so 27 years, so almost 30 years, 6.68 in the 2000s. Oh, that's when they popped the tech bubble. Interesting. Whew. I mean, if you take a look at this too, this is something that's super interesting. If you're actually looking at the 220 session federal funds rate moving average, we've actually broken out of the resistance. So if they stay the course for a bit, it may be game on in terms of like returning us to something like basically tripling the effective federal funds rate right now. What if they did that? And they might, if it's that seismic in terms of them trying to get the inflation in order. What if they actually did it? And then on top of that, if you take a look, we can run to the dollar index. It seems like it may, like this is the strongest the dollar's been in 20 years. Like it's unprecedented. The actual the speed in which this has actually been transpiring, like these movements in terms of the dollar index or in terms of the federal funds rate and stuff like that, it's unprecedented, the actions that they've been taking. Full on, unprecedented. Let's continue on. Investors have more data to weigh Thursday as the consumer price index comes in the morning. The Dow Jones's consensus estimates show the CPI rose 0.3% in September, up from 0.1% in August. That would bring inflation's annual pace from to 8.1% from 8.1% from 8.3%. Okay. So we are slated to still be inflating. And that is, again, I think it's starting to cool down. I know that the inflation numbers are being estimated at this. And it very well could still be on fire. And again, this is just my view of it all. So I'm just making it clear. But at least from what I've seen, the prices seem to be stabilizing, at least where I shop. Again, stuff is definitely more expensive, and they're not including food, or they're not weighing food in the same way they do like the price of a used car in the consumer pricing index, because everything is weighted differently. Like, I definitely am paying 30% more for food than I was last year, but I've been paying the same for food, or the same price for the same types of foods I was buying. And I've been paying that same price for like 3 months now. So if I were to be able to buy, a set of groceries for $70 last year, this year it's probably $100. And I've been paying $100 for probably like the last 3 months. So I do think it is stabilizing. It is slated to increase from Dow Jones. So you never really know. But should they increase, the Federal Reserve is cognizant of that. And I think they are still trying to counteract that type of contraction, that unnecessary inflation. I think they are slated, and they have said that they are slated to keep the higher rates, the higher federal funds rate and open market rates and everything. Federal officials expect higher rates to stay in place, meeting minutes show. Federal Reserve officials have been surprised at the pace of inflation and indicated at their last meeting that they expect higher interest rates to remain in place until price comes down. Ooh, snap. Someone be playing Overwatch too. And indicated at their last meeting that they expect higher rates to remain in place until prices come down, according to minutes released Wednesday from the central bank's September meeting. In discussions leading up to a 0.75 percentage point rate hike, or 75 basis points, policymakers noted that inflation is taking its toll on lower income Americans. Oh, yep. What did I say, baby? What did I say, baby? He's playing Overwatch too. Come on. They reiterated rate hikes are likely to continue and higher rates will prevail until the problem is showing signs of resolving. Participants judged that the committee needed to move to and then maintain a more restrictive policy stance in order to meet the committee's legislative mandate to promote maximum employment and price stability, the meeting summary stated. And I think, again, raising that federal funds rate is how they're doing that. Like, they are definitely stalling the economy. They are contracting the economy. Again, that's a neutral event. It's not a negative event. It's not a positive event. We have positive and negative connotations to these market cycles. But at the end of the day, they want to create more purchasing power for the United States dollar and purchasing power parity, which, if you're looking at major currencies all around the world, major assets all around the world, the best performing asset of 2022 is the United States dollar. And they've been doing just that. Officials further noted that with inflation, quote, showing little signs so far of abating, they had raised their assessment of the path of the federal funds rate that would likely be needed to achieve the committee's goals. So they're going to increase it even more. The S&P 500 gained slightly on Wednesday after the release of the minutes, as some traders took one comment as a signal the Fed could back off its rapid tightening if there is more financial markets turbulence. Quote, several participants noted that particularly in the current highly uncertain global economic and financial environment, it would be important to calibrate the pace of further policy tightening with the aim of mitigating the risk of significant adverse effects on the economic outlook, the minute said. Okay. Well, it's interesting that they bring this up because, you know, you've seen like permabulls and people who are in the speculative growth stock field. They really need them to drop the interest rates down. I mean, like if you're looking at speculative commodities and also like speculative, highly overvalued assets, I think dropping those or tightening up those credit markets, I think it really made them hurt. Like if you look at the ARK Innovation ETF from basically February of 2021, which obviously their drop began before they started kicking in these interest rate hikes and everything. But from February of 2021 to right now, they're down 78%. And this is an ETF of some of the largest cap stocks in the entire world. The ARK Innovation ETF, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically it's this hedge fund manager, Cathie Wood, and the whole ETF is basically just purchasing tech stocks. That's basically it. It's just It's purchasing tech stocks or overvalued Silicon Valley tech stocks at that. And now it's down 78% since February 2021. And I definitely think the high interest rates or the higher interest rates from where we were 6 months ago or 10 months ago, it definitely played a factor in her not being able to get more capital and equity to be able to further her growth. And speaking of Cathie Wood, and speaking of the Federal Reserve at that matter, she actually issued an open letter to the Fed, and this was yesterday, saying it is risking an economic bust. The Fed is likely making a mistake in its hardline stance against inflation because it is looking backward, ARK Invest's Cathie Wood said on Monday. In an open letter, Wood suggested the central bank has shocked not just the United States, but the world and raised the risks of a deflationary bust. The Federal Reserve is likely making a mistake in its hardline stance against inflation, ARK Investment Managers Cathie Wood said Monday in an open letter to the bank. Instead of looking at employment and price indexes from previous months, Wood said the Fed should be taking lessons from commodity prices that indicate the biggest economic risk going forward is deflation, not inflation. The Fed seems focused on two variables, in our view, are lagging indicators: downstream inflation and employment, both of which have been sending conflicting signals and should be calling into question the Fed's unanimous call for higher interest rates. Specifically, the Consumer Price Index and Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Indexes both showed inflation running high. Headline CPI rose 0.1% in August and was up 8.3% year over year, while headline PCE accelerated 0.3% and 6.2% respectively. Both readings were even higher, excluding food and energy, which saw price drops over the summer. We got to keep rolling down. Worries over an inflationary bust. The Fed has approved 3 consecutive interest rate increases of 0.75% or 75 basis points, mostly by unanimous vote, and is expected to okay 4th when it meets again November 1st through November 2nd. Now, it's not just that they are expected to okay it, they have outright said we are going to raise interest rates by another 125 basis points by the end of this year. So at least a 75 basis point move in November, which is what the market is pricing in, and also at least a 50 basis point move in December. Unanimous? Really? Wood wrote? Could it be that the unprecedented 13-fold increase in interest rates during the last 6 months, likely 16-fold come November 2nd, has shocked not just the United States, but the world and raised the risks of a deflationary bust? Inflation is bad for the economy because it raises the cost of living and depresses consumer spending. Deflation is a converse risk that reflects tumbling demand and is associated with steep economic downturns. To be sure, the Fed is hardly alone in raising rates. Nearly 40 central banks around the world have approved increases during September, and the markets have largely expected all the Fed's moves. Quote, without question, food and energy prices are important, but we do not believe that the Fed should be fighting and exacerbating the global pain associated with a supply shock to agriculture and energy commodities caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Lord. Oh, and here we go. The Fed is expected to follow the November hike of 75 basis points with a 0.5 percentage point or 50 basis point rise in December, then a 25 basis point or 0.25 percentage point move early in 2023. Oh, she's just down bad, man. And hey, I get you. What was her ARK ETF worth? ARK Innovation market cap historical, because I know she has lost easily at least $25 billion in the last like 18 months. Ugh. So, dude, where's the net assets? 7.95 billion. Come on, man. Come on, man. Historical. Or let's do assets under management. 14.1 billion. Oh, we can actually view total assets. What? Scheduled maintenance? How are you going to deny the millions the ability to see how many assets are under management with the ARK Innovation ETF? What? Come on, man. That's crazy. Anyway, this entire ETF, the entire proposition of this ETF was predicated on this notion that tech IPOs and tech startups will just make a bunch of money because it's buzzwords. You know, it's Internet of Things, it's cryptocurrencies, it's fintech, which I do think will be important sectors of businesses. I don't think there's anything wrong with fintech companies or a tech company IPOing. It's just at these absurd valuations that were pretty dependent on loose credit markets because it made people a lot more enthusiastic in investing into the market. But more importantly, that enthusiasm turned into greed. And people started getting greedy and speculative. And this is what speculation looks like. And again, if they're talking about further contraction, the actual Fed is talking about further contraction, I think we could still see more pain. And in risking an economic bust, you know, again, everything is going, like, we are in a contraction period. I don't know if that's busting, but we are definitely more in a bust cycle than a boom cycle right now. And I think we could continue to bust. And we could we may reach even lower lows. And if so, this is probably going to be down 83 to 85%. So another 5 to 7%. I think just with this, like most of their holdings, it's like Shopify. Hold on, let's see the ARK Innovation holdings, because some of the companies I do really like. There are good companies in there, companies that I think may be overvalued right now. Yeah, so most of these holdings, Tesla, I think it's a fine company. Zoom, Roku, Coinbase, again, and no hate on Coinbase. I think Coinbase is cool. CRISPR, Teladoc, Block, so Square. Yeah, it's just highly speculative, man. And it was highly speculative on the way up. It went up 500% in 2 years, and now it's down 78% in 20 months. That's how this stuff goes. Now, speaking of companies that are down bad, specifically tech companies that are down bad, let's talk about Meta. And Meta is introducing a new Oculus Quest product, specifically the Oculus Quest Pro, an advanced VR device for collaboration and creation. Over the last year, we've shared a few details about Project Cambria, our new all-in-one VR headset that represents a major leap forward for VR hardware. Today, we are excited to finally show you what we've been working on. Say hello to MetaQuest Pro. MetaQuest Pro is the first entry in our new high-end line of devices and is packed with innovative features like high-res sensors for robust mixed reality experiences, crisp LCD displays for sharp visuals, a new and sleeker design, plus eye tracking and natural facial expressions to help your avatar reflect you more naturally in VR. Now here's the kicker. MetaQuest Pro will be made available for purchase on October 25th for $1,499.99, United States dollars, that is. $1,500 for this dude right here. Woo-hoo. Spicy. Spicy. No, it's expensive. Like this is full on their pro lineup. Like they're really leaning into it. And I don't think this is going to be a very popular product. I feel like it's going after like a very niche consumer sector. But it is still braving the storm with some very interesting features, and we're gonna go further into that later. Now, for $1,500, you're getting the brand new headset, the MetaQuest Pro, the MetaQuest Pro, the MetaQuest Touch Pro controllers, stylus tips, partial light blockers, and a charging dock. You can pre-order the MetaQuest Pro from the Meta Store starting today in any country where MetaQuest products are supported and from select retail partners including Best Buy, Argos, Fnac, Boulanger, and you can also pre-order from Amazon. We believe VR devices will help usher in the next computing platform, becoming as ubiquitous as laptops and tablets are today, and that people will use them in their everyday lives to access the metaverse. With its cutting-edge technologies, MetaQuest Pro represents an important step toward that future. We designed it to expand the possibilities of both VR and mixed reality, and to do that, you need truly innovative hardware. MetaQuest Pro is the first ever device powered by the new Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Plus platform, which is optimized for VR to run at 50% more power than MetaQuest 2 with better thermal dissipation, resulting in significantly better performance. Each MetaQuest Pro comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, and 10 high-res sensors, 5 inside the headset and 5 outside, that help enhance a variety of very immersive experiences. Next gen optics. VR is all about the visuals, and MetaQuest Pro features several big improvements over the MetaQuest 2. MetaQuest Pro's entirely new optical stack replaces the Fresnel lens in MetaQuest 2 with thin pancake optics that fold light several times over, reducing the depth of the optical module by 40% while providing clear and sharp visuals. The two LCD displays use local dimming and quantum dot technology to provide richer and more vivid colors. Our custom local dimming tech, powered by specialized backlight hardware and accompanying software algorithms, can control more than 500 individual LED blocks independently, giving the display 75% more contrast. MetaQuest Pro also has 37% more pixels per inch and 10% greater pixels per degree than MetaQuest 2, making everything from reading text to playing games look better. Additionally, there's a 25% improvement in full field visual sharpness in the center view, 50% improvement in the peripheral vision, and 1.3x larger color gamut than the MetaQuest 2. So it's going to be sharper, it's going to have better contrast, better viewing angles, and on top of that, it's going to have way more colors that can actually be shown. Now, here's one of those really big things that, or one of those pretty killer features and major technological increases and steps year over year. This right here, like this is pretty seismic. Full color mixed reality. MetaQuest Pro has an all-new sensor architecture with high-res outward-facing cameras that capture 4 times the pixels as MetaQuest 2's external cameras, unlocking a high-definition full-color mixed reality experience. On MetaQuest 2, pass-through lets you see the world outside your device in black and white. But with MetaQuest Pro, you can view your physical environment in full color. This helps developers create more robust mixed reality experiences using our Presence platform suite of tools. MetaQuest Pro features stereoscopic mixed reality pass-through, which combines multiple sensor views to create a natural view of the world in 3D. Compared to the monoscopic pass-through solutions, this results in a higher quality and more comfortable experience with better depth perception and fewer visual distortions for both close-up and room-scale mixed reality scenarios. Mixed reality on MetaQuest Pro lets you combine your physical environments with virtual environments in a realistic way. Instead of being confined to the dimensions of your desk, you can set up a big virtual workspace with multiple screens spread all around you, or while you are still using your physical keyboard and mouse in productivity apps like Immersed. Or if you're a furniture designer, you can create detailed 3D models with other people in real time using Arkio and Gravity Sketch, and then see how they look in your actual living room. And with Presence's platforms, scene understanding, and shared spatial anchors, developers can build virtual objects that interact with your physical space, even in co-located experiences where 2 or more people can play or work together in VR while in the same physical space. Man, I understand that VR is still a novelty, and it's still, it doesn't really have mass market appeal yet, because there's no use case where it's like in any practical use case, it does anything better than something that's, in the actual universe, our plane of existence right now, not a virtual universe or a virtual plane of existence. But this is the first time, seriously, that we have seen a consumer-grade piece of technology launch with mixed reality capabilities, more specifically full-color mixed reality capabilities. And is this product right here, is the MetaQuest Pro, Project Cambria formerly, is it going to achieve, 10 million sales in 6 months? Is it going to be the hottest new piece of technology on the market today? It's not going to be that. It's not going to be the thing that the mass market purchases. Not this product right here. But from a proof of concept standpoint, the fact that it can launch with full color mixed reality capabilities is game changing, because mixed reality is truly the next mass market technological, not fad, not trend, but step to the future. Like it is the next logical mass market technological leap. The thing that actually has people using a brand new product in a way that is totally different from any product before that. In the same way, there was typewriters, and then there were desktop computers, and then there were laptops, and then there was smartphones. The iPhone was like a game changer, and we're still living in that paradigm. This mixed reality is what takes us into the next technological paradigm. Once there is a mass market and mass market priced mixed reality headset that has real capabilities for people, because the thing with VR is it's very restrictive. Like you don't get to interact with your space, and at least with VR, you basically have to stay locked in to one space, versus with mixed reality, it just lays important information on top of your already existing plane of reality. So let's say I'm sitting in my computer live streaming the Dylan Holy experience to you, right? And with this mixed reality headset, I can have my chat bar on either side of my screen. And obviously I have monitors that can do that, but it's something that's dynamic, and it's not, it's not there in real life. It's overlaid using mixed reality. Look at this right here. Could you imagine, you have a workspace right here, you're working on something, you are listening to music, and then you also have a newscast running, and then you have a ticker up top with all of your different notifications or widgets or something like that. Just a piece of information that is important to you. This, and it travels with you dynamically, and there are certain things that you want to leave stationary, and there's also going to be, important overlays that you want to take with you. This picture right here, once there is an affordable mass market option of a mixed reality headset or a mixed reality experience that people can purchase that has real use to them, it's a game changer. And this feature right here is pretty, this is a watershed moment. Like, totally. A full color mixed reality headset that is launching on a consumer grade piece of technology. You don't have to get a developer permit for it. You don't have to register with them. You can just go out and buy it, a mixed reality headset. This isn't going to be the headset that catches on. This isn't going to be this product specifically. The MetaQuest Pro at $1,500 is not going to catch on. A lot of people are not going to buy this. But the significance of this feature right here is very, very real. Like, oh, sorry, man. Y'all just got me started on mixed reality headsets. But no, this is the way of the future. Like this feature right here. And once they get it pared down and there's real capability there, a real reason for people to start using it, it's over. 10 million sales, 15 million, 20 million sales in 6 months. But not this one, though. There was also a sleek new design. It's smaller, it's lighter, it still looks kind of bulky, but it's getting better, which is really, really good. Also, these brand new controllers. They're more ergonomic. They also have they have 3 built-in sensors that track their position in a 3D space independent of their headset, giving you a full 360-degree range of motion. And this ensures stable tracking across all of your VR apps. So it is pretty significant. Like they're also making an investment into sensors and in terms of actually tracking your hands and legs and everything. Because that's the other part. Like there's actually overlaying the information, but it's also, I don't know if having meetings like this, I think they may exist in the future. I don't know if it's going to be as cartoony. Like I do think they're going to be realistic, or it's going to be like a Skype call where there's like a certain room that's been mapped and you can go in there. But I do think collaboration now is going to be maybe more natural, but it's definitely not to the point where, it's going to be as productive as sitting in an actual room with people. But it is good that the sensors for the actual controllers are going to have better tracking and better haptics. Dude, haptics go a long way, dude. Like if you can build like crisp haptic feedback, it just adds to the experience. It adds a whole new level of texture. It's also going to have increased facial tracking for more natural facial expressions for avatars. That's a good thing. And you can buy a bunch of stuff. You can buy a compact charging dock, full light blocker, earphones, a carry case, all this stuff. And for $1,500, it can be yours. I've spoken ad nauseum about this already, but this isn't going to be the product that catches on, but it is very, very significant. I think the mixed reality on a consumer grade piece of technology is very significant. Like this could be a watershed product, not in terms of like the actual technology catching on, but just to show that it can be shipped. And it's really a major company's first real take on mixed reality. Like, we've had the Microsoft HoloLens, and we've had, the Magic Leap stuff, and you could even throw like, I guess Google Glass in there, but not really. Like it's like mixed reality is different. So I'm just going to say like the Microsoft HoloLens. You've had them attempt that, and there was an operating system there, but this is going to be the first time we really see a company, millions, baby. Shout out to Bo Smallman in America, tuning in on the Dylan Holy Experience. Thank you. Damien, DD Swoosh is here too. Two icons. I want to get the Quest. I think the Quest 2 is really good. I have a Quest. This one right here, again, this is like the Pro Oculus Quest, so it's $1,500. I don't think most people should purchase this product, but it is a very significant product. Like the mixed reality is, and I've already spoken about this for like 10 minutes already, but it's sweet. It's freaking sweet, man. It's sweet, man. But no, it's the Apple Watch Ultra of Quests. Exactly, dude. Yeah, no, like it's the ultra high end for a very niche sector of the consumer base. And I think it's important that products like these launch. You know, obviously Meta, they're trying to turn a profit with this. And I think Meta is definitely trying to turn a profit with this because this has been their stock price movement over the last like year and 3 months, so 15 months. They're down like 80% or 75 to 80%. They got to turn a profit. In fact, I think Mark Zuckerberg specifically is down $90 billion from the high. Let me see. Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, so he's down $90 billion this year. So I think he definitely wants this product to be successful. But it's important that products like these launch because it is a consumer grade step into where I believe the future of this world is going. Like technologically, I believe this is the future. And not just, you know, like something that's happening that like a new technological innovation, but a technological innovation that changes truly how we interface with things. Like the iPhone changed how we interface forever and how we communicate and how we interact with computer programs and applications. This is going to be the same thing in a way that impacts the mass market, a very significant amount of the consumer base. Like we have the Apple Watch, but the Apple Watch, it didn't change anything. Like when the Apple Watch came out to now, so from 2014 to 2022, 8 years, or 2015, excuse me, it got announced in 2014. So in 7 years, like, yeah, a lot of people use Apple Watches, but it didn't change really how we interact in the world. This is something that does. Now, CNBC, they also covered it as well. The new Meta Quest Pro costs $1,100 more than the Oculus 2 headset. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, joined Meta's Mark Zuckerberg to discuss bringing the company's apps like Teams into VR. Very interesting stuff. He's also talking about how there's going to be how you're going to be able to take advantage of the company's Xbox Cloud Gaming service. You will be able to play 2D games with your Xbox controller projected on a massive screen on Quest. It's early days, but we're excited for what's to come. This is a really cool feature, man, because the other thing too, like, you know, they're talking about collaboration in the workplace and using it in a collaborative setting, but the real place where mixed reality is going to take hold first is going to be gaming. And it's awesome because how they're also setting up the mixed reality Quest 2 capability or Quest Pro capabilities is multiple people are going to be able to be in the same, you know, universe, the actual room, and they will be able to see the exact same thing that's being displayed in mixed reality in their metaverse. So a bunch of people could be looking at just a wall and it's like an 80-inch, you know, screen of just like of multiplayer games. And obviously it's like, well, just like they already have a console and an 80-inch TV. So just go over to someone's house. Like you're already at someone's house with just a bunch of headsets on. Sure. I guess. Yeah. It seems like a redundant thing, but it is still very significant. And I think that's where the industry is going. And also once the actual bandwidth increases, it's going to get rid of the need Millennium Studios, but it's cooler with the $1,500 headset for sure. No, I totally agree. Shout out to Drew in America. First time chat. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Dylan Holy Experience. Much love, baby. Much love. Much love. But yeah, it's definitely cooler with that $1,500 headset. I would definitely prefer doing that. And once there is a mass market, use case, an actual piece of technology for it that's not $1,500, I think more people are going to be using it. And I think it's going to become way more popular, and it's going to get rid of the need for you to have a computer console or even a TV at that, because you'll just be able to display it from your headset. Now, let's take a left turn and let's go back away from the technological product launches and start talking about good old-fashioned black gold, baby. I'm talking about oil. And the U.S. should pump more oil to avert a war-level energy crisis, says JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told CNBC Monday that the U.S. should forge ahead in pumping more oil and gas to help alleviate the global oil and energy crisis, likening the situation to a national security risk of war-level proportions. Dimon said Western allies should support the U.S. in shoring up supply. Quote, "The United States of America needs to play a leadership role. America is the swing producer, not Saudi Arabia." All right. Jamie Dimon, kind of based. I'm not going to lie. But no, I do think that when we're so what's going on with OPEC right now, because this is kind of where it's starting from. So OPEC and OPEC plus producers, they are going to cut oil production by up to 2 million barrels per day to shore up prices. So anywhere between 500,000 to 200 or to 2 million barrels per day. And that is going to have a significant supply shock on the oil economy, obviously. There's less being produced, and a significant amount at that. And the United States and a lot of Western countries, Western European countries, were relying on OPEC and OPEC plus partners and producers to keep giving them that petroleum. And it's not that we don't have the oil reserves and oil fields to be making oil in the United States. I think it was a strategic thing. They didn't want to shore up our supply. So America just started importing it, buying it from people, having it come in. But now OPEC says no. And what's very interesting with OPEC and OPEC Plus is a lot of the partners that we were trading with and buying their oil and gas, we started canceling them and we started imposing sanctions on them. And now they're like, no, then we're just going to stop producing oil and only use it for us and our ventures. So now it leaves the United States in a very interesting position, because now we've been given a crossroads, a fork in the road of you either produce oil and we bring these prices down, or you don't produce it and now you risk oil going to $10 in California. It's already at $8 in Los Angeles. It's already $6 in most other parts in California. So $10 is very reasonable, I think, within the next decade. But we will probably see $9 to $10 gas in California, possibly like $4 to $5 gas nationwide, which doesn't seem like a lot in California. It would be very nice to go back to $5 gas. But nationwide, that's like a 66% increase from where we were or where we are right now. And Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, is saying that we need to be producing more. Dimon dubbed the crisis, quote, pretty predictable, occurring as it has from Europe's overdependence on Russian energy, and urged Western allies to support the United States in taking a lead role in international energy security. I think they should maybe just invest more into green energy, and then everyone has international energy security because everyone is independent. But I digress. Quote, in my view, America should have been pumping more oil and gas, and it should have been supported. America needs to play a leadership role. America is the swing producer, not Saudi Arabia. We should have gotten that right in March. Europe, once a major importer of Russian energy, relying on the country for up to 45% of its natural gas needs, and then they canceled them. And then Russia had sanctions put on them by Europe, and then Russia put sanctions on Europe from Russia. So now, even if Europe pulls back those sanctions, Russia's like, no, we're just not going to trade with you anymore. We now have a longer term problem, which is the world is not producing enough oil and gas to reduce coal and make the transition to green energy produce security for people. What that? To reduce coal produce for the people. I don't know if that was a typo or not, but yeah, I mean, there's now going to be a lot more pain if they either don't invest into green energy or start mining more gas and oil. I think they should probably start to transition to green energy. And I think in an ideal world, this shock to their supply makes them start to invest heavily into green energy and maybe nuclear energy. Thorium. Shout out to my thorium squad. Thorium! That's what I'm saying, man. It's yeah, it is safe nuclear fuel. But uranium lobbyists in Washington are making sure we don't use this, but it's way cleaner than uranium. It's way cleaner than uranium. It's way more abundant than uranium, and it's way more power efficient than uranium. But who's to say where they're going to go? I think if anything, they'll probably use uranium. And I still think that's probably better than petroleum because it's more energy efficient, and it's in barring like a nuclear reactor meltdown, it tends to be cleaner. But for right now, we are still on the oil standard. And Jamie Dimon is likening what's going on right now to Pearl Harbor. Referring to the war in Ukraine more broadly, Dimon dubbed it an attack similar to that of... Dimon dubbed it an attack of similar magnitude to that of Pearl Harbor or the invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1968. It's Pearl Harbor. It's Czechoslovakia. It's really an attack on the Western world. However, the CEO said it also presented an opportunity for the West to get its act together and defend its values in the face of autocratic regimes. The autocratic world thinks that the Western world is a little lazy and incompetent. And there's a little bit of truth to that, said Dimon. This is the chance to get our act together and to solidify the Western, free, democratic, capitalist, free people, free movements, freedom of speech, free religion for the next century. Quote, because if we don't get this one right, that kind of chaos you can see around the world for the next 50 years. And ladies and gentlemen, I think with that, we conclude the midweek market recap on the Dylan Holy Experience. Thank you very much for spending your primetime news hour with me. It's always much appreciated. I love every single member of the million watching right now. If you liked what you saw, be sure to, if you're on Twitch, give me a follow. If you're on YouTube, hit it with a subscribe. And then if you're on YouTube, I want you to go over to Twitch and follow me. And if you're watching on Twitch, I want you to go over to YouTube and subscribe to me. Then I want both of you guys to go to twitter.com/RealDylanHoly or at RealDylanHoly and give me a follow. I'm out here putting up some fun content, some interesting content, some informative content. On top of that, you stay up to date on anything I retweet. And whenever I go live on the Dylan Holy Experience doing our midweek market recap or end of the week market recap, Inflation numbers are coming out Thursday. CPI coming out tomorrow. And you bet your sweet bucket the Dylan Holy Experience will be covering that on the end of the week market recap. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.